my life. I know if I work up until 5 minutes before my head hits a pillow, I'm going to have a wrecked night's sleep.
It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's the Glute Guys.
Howdy, everybody. Today we got to put our thinking caps on and react to another video. We got Bryan Johnson. We all have seen him. He has been young for his entire life, and he will never get old. And today, he's going to tell us why we're always getting tired.
Why? Why are we? I'm always tired. I combat it with coffee, though.
Oh, I combat it with cocaine. That's not true, people watching. I don't do drugs. But let's pop this thing right up. We got Bryan right here looking super young. Let's get right into this video. And Bryan, thanks for coming on the podcast, even though we're just watching your video.
Today, I'm going to tell you about the 6 habits that are wrecking your sleep. High quality sleep has changed my life.
And pause it for 2 seconds.
What's up, sir?
How many, out of 6 habits, how many of these habits do you think you do? Before we even see them.
I'm going to say I probably do. I'm going to say I do 4 out of 6. That's what I think.
I'm going to take a wild guess. I do all 6.
Say that again, sir. I think you got cut off for a second.
I'm going to take a wild guess that I do all 6 of the habits that Bryan said.
All 6. My
all
goodness.
6, I guarantee you.
Let's see.
Didn't watch this video yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, let's get right into this.
It changes my conscious experience more than sleep. Now, I came from a place of really bad sleep. 3 little babies, being a full-time entrepreneur, grinding at work, having some challenges on the home front. I know what it feels like to have really bad sleep for a very...
All right, so we know this guy knows what bad sleep is. So let's skip right into food, or else we're going to be hearing him talk about bad sleep, or him being a bad sleeper. Let's see what he says.
Number 1 is eating food too late. Now, for example, let's say your bedtime is 10 p.m. and at 9 p.m. in the middle of your favorite episode.
Let's pause right there, sir. Do you eat food too late?
Yeah, you don't have to ask the question. I know it. Yes, it did. I just ate dinner a moment ago, so the answer is yes to that.
That for people watching this 9 p.m.
Eastern
during the week. Yeah, Eastern. Doesn't matter, sir. It's too late regardless.
Just yeah. Well, you don't know if Bryan's going to talk about coastal if you live on the East Coast versus the West Coast. It's a bad habit.
But if it's during the week, I don't eat late. If it's during the weekend, I'm a lot more likely to eat late. Like especially if we're doing something with friends, I might eat or have a drink a little bit later. But I usually don't, at least during the week, eat very late.
You decide that eating a piece of pizza is a good idea. And then one piece of pizza turns into the whole pizza. In that moment, several
sounded like a great idea.
Happen. One is your body has to spin up all kinds of metabolic activity to address this food it must digest. That's challenging. You have a blood glucose spike when that happens. And then once you have that, it drops. So you have this blood glucose fluctuation. You also have a disruption of melatonin.
So let me pause there. So that's just normal stuff that happens when you eat, right? I mean,
I understand what he's saying. Like it's what it does to your body, but go on, sir.
Yeah, like this doesn't necessarily mean don't do it right before bed. Like I've actually heard too that eating right before bed is not a bad thing and it's completely fine. Of course.
Well, obviously it's obviously wrong because Bryan says otherwise.
All right, sorry, Bryan. Let's go.
Melatonin production, where your body says, I want to get ready for bed, and now that's off the rails. So it disrupts the entire process the body's expecting as you ready yourself for sleep. So don't do that. I'll tell you from my experience, I wanted to test. I wanted to find what is the very best time to eat my final meal of the day. So I did a few hundred experiments. I would test 1 hour before bed and 2 and 3 and 4, all the way back to 11 a.m. My bedtime is 8:30. And I also tested types of foods. So I would say, what happens when you eat a salad, 3 hours before bed, or a piece of bread or some pasta. So I was testing my metabolic response to these foods at these times of day. And I found that my best time of day was
Thoughts so far, sir? Oh wait, he's about to say it. I paused at the worst time. Sorry, people. Sorry.
11:30 a.m. of my final meal. Now you may say that's crazy. It probably is according to current standards. Also, when I did that, my body was able to complete digestion by the time I went to bed. Now there's a few markers that I looked at to see what was happening. First, my
first question is, why does it matter if you're digesting when you're sleeping? It's called rest and digest.
Sure. Well, I guess from what I can see, and I'm not the biggest expert on eating and sleeping. I partake in it a lot, but from what I think he's trying to say is, I guess, like during a time that your body's supposed to be resting, it's utilizing energy to break down food that you had eaten just prior. So I think he's trying to say, like, you're mentally sleeping, but your body that's supposed to be resting is now awake. But also at the same time, I mean, other bad things I've heard about is if you eat too late, you go to sleep, it can cause some acid reflux, and that can get a little bit messy too. So I agree with Bryan on this one at the moment.
I don't know. I don't have trouble sleeping if I eat before bed, unless I really like go buck wild. If I eat a lot, buck.
Well,
Then I will.
It might not be necessarily about like your quality of sleep, but like the rest that you're actually getting. Like that might, like, if you feel tired throughout the day. I'm gonna we're gonna talk about this next week. First I'm gonna ask you. I know we're having an interview on Monday. I'm gonna pause. I'm not even gonna ask our interviewee, hey, here's first question for you. I'm gonna be like, Aaron, have you been tired today? We're gonna figure out if you ate before you went to bed the night before.
resting
We'll
heart
test
rate
that habit.
became my best predictor of how well I would sleep. So when it was between 46 and 50, I was almost guaranteed.
I'm just going to stop it right there again. 46 and 50 for resting heart rate is super low, but not in a bad way. Like if you're super healthy, it can get that low. But a normal person, 60 to 100 is good. So don't freak out if you don't have 40 to 45 to 50.
A perfect night's sleep. When I ate later in the day, my resting heart rate would be increased to 55, 56, 57. And when I saw that, it was guaranteed to be about 30% less quality. It is absolutely predictable. So the takeaway here is the time you eat.
I'm gonna wear my my Apple Watch tonight. I'm gonna see if I eat before bed, if it changes my heart rate. I actually wonder if there's a correlation with that. He's not presenting any research on it, so I'm purely curious about that. I'm gonna test it myself. But also, at the same time, I'm going to just realize that I didn't have my lights on, Aaron. So excuse me, the whole audience is gonna think that I'm disturbing and disgusting looking.
So my big negative with him is that his research is one study or one person. And everything we've learned about research is you need multiple participants because everyone's body responds differently. So, but just because his body responds in this way doesn't necessarily mean everybody is going to respond in the same way. That being said, it makes sense. Like you have more sugar in your system from a meal. You might have a higher heart rate and might be harder to sleep.
Yeah, from a fundamental standpoint, it makes sense. Like what he's saying, like, isn't wrong. Like what I wish that he did post, and one thing I will critique, and I know we usually critique more towards the end. The one thing I will say is I wish that he posted some of like the research on this. This just seems like it's just his habits that he notices affects his sleep, which okay, understandable. But no, I'm curious on what the research says about this. That might be something I have to dive into.
Yeah, let's see what he has to say.
Eat matters a lot. Now, you are different, you're unique, your body type, your metabolism, your genetics. So what I'm going to encourage you is not to do what I do at 11 a.m., but to experiment 2 hours before bed, and then 3, and then 4.
I actually like that a lot. What he's saying, that you should try things out and find what's best for your body. If you try something, if you try what he does and you feel terrible, obviously don't do it. But yeah, if you try what he does and it does amazing, then it makes sense to try it out.
So far, I'm actually I'm a fan of this video, and a lot of people joke about Bryan Johnson, but he's giving very quality advice. He's just saying these, and this is exactly what I said before. To me, so far the video appears that this is like his 6 habits that he realizes affects his sleep, and now he's just challenging viewers, like, hey, you give this a try and see what you feel. Maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. So, props to Bryan on that one. That's good.
Yeah, let's skip to the next thing. I think we got it. Sleep mistake number 2, no wind
is
down
not
routine.
having a wind down routine. Now, this is something that is so important in my life. I know if I work up until 5 minutes before my head hits a pillow, I'm going to have a wrecked night's sleep, just guaranteed, because I will go to sleep thinking about the day, like the conversations I had, the things I should be doing, the things I forgot to do.
So honestly, I think we could skip this section, only because I actually agree with him. I think that doing something before bed, watching TV before bed, is not usually good. It's not recommended. There's a lot of evidence behind it. If your brain is extra stimulated, you're going to have more trouble sleeping.
100%. They actually say that you should have a period, like a wind down period, and the research varies on it. My fiance and I would typically try to do like a wind down period of like an hour to a half hour, depending on the night. Some nights like we might be watching like our TV show or something, but we try to at least do an hour beforehand where it's like, all right, like no TV, no electronics, no Instagram reels, unless I'm watching the Glute Guys. Things like that, just to kind of help calm the brain down some.
It's actually true. They say that Glute Guys reels actually help you sleep better. So 10 out of 10 would recommend.
You're gonna ruin Brian's sixth. The last habit is actually that he watches our channel.
That's confirmed. That's actually what the last habit is. We're not going to watch that one though.
Yeah.
All right. Next thing. Let's see. And sure, you're fine with skipping, right? I mean, I already skipped. Oh, sorry, Brian.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if we ended up just watching the whole video all the way through, it would just be our viewers joining us to watch this video. So let's just right to the point. Get to it.
Well, we need commentary.
Next
we don't
habit.
want to be a bunch of bums.
Do we agree with Brian?
Number 3
Press
is
play.
having stimulants too late in the day.
So my first question is, why does
First
he
of
have
all,
these
hang on.
stimulants?
First of all, he just threw a bottle of Jack Honey into the garbage. Get that out. That's
Having stimulants too late in the day.
That's not a stimulant. That's a depressant.
Bud Light and Jack Daniels are both
Not going to say anything.
stimulants.
They're actually going to help you sleep better.
Well,
Disagree,
maybe not for the
but
right
actually, no.
reasons, but they do.
No, I get why they're there. It's they can disrupt your sleep. They are going to change the metabolism in your body. Of course, alcohol is going to fluctuate your sleep. I hope you didn't throw out a full bottle of Jack Honey, Brian. If you did, I'll shoot you my address. You could just mail it to me.
Sir, if you drink that whole bottle, you will sleep like a baby.
That's actually, Aaron, you're ruining the next episode. It's a video of me just chugging a whole bottle of Jack Honey, and then I go to sleep.
And then sad music in the background. All right, let's see what he has to say.
So let's just say, for example, you have a cup of coffee at 4 p.m. and your bedtime is 10 p.m. Caffeine
Was that your dog?
Yeah,
Okay.
has a half-life of 6
cannoli.
hours. So that means at 10 p.m. when your head hits a pillow, it's equal to having a half a cup of coffee. So you want to be mindful. Now, some people metabolize coffee in a way where they can drink caffeine at any time and they're fine, but others are much more sensitive, including myself. So I stopped caffeine and alcohol entirely because they disrupted my mood. They would take me up and then push me down, and I'd have this problem on my hands. Now with no caffeine and no alcohol, I'm very stable throughout the entire day. If you're going to drink caffeine, try to have it earlier in the day, but again, experiment on the right time. It's not going to.
We'll stop right there. I agree with him.
I like the chaos.
Yeah. I'm also not a fan of caffeine. I think it's very addicting. First of all, people become reliant on it. When they don't have it, they get super grumpy, super mean.
Don't talk about me like that, Aaron. I'm delightful.
See? Exactly. When did you have your last caffeine fix?
Actually, all right, so I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Usually I'll have like my coffee in the morning. That's a full American-sized coffee. We'll call it a small American coffee, but we know that's the European large. And then during the day, I'll either have another cup of coffee or I'll have an espresso. I've been to Italy, so it's what they do towards the middle end of their day. So yeah, my intake is high on caffeine.
Yeah, so you have that 2 cup a day diet, which there's actually some studies out there that say 2 cups a day is okay. But again, it's your body becomes reliant on it, and if you don't have it, you get a headache, you don't feel well. To me, that means you're going through withdrawal. If you're going through withdrawal from something, that's probably not a good thing. That probably doesn't say, "Oh, you should just have that all the time."
No idea what you're talking about. No, I do agree with Brian. Yes, stimulants during certain times because then it won't let you sleep and it won't let you have quality sleep. That'll definitely raise your heart rate, and then you'll probably be cranky the next day.
Dr. Tom's already cranky. We don't need more of that.
To disrupt your sleep.
Cranky all the time.
Number 4 is not properly regulating evening light. Now, in the morning, light is great. Getting sunlight in the eyes for the first 15 to 30 minutes of the day, it sets the circadian rhythm, it improves mood, there's all kinds of health benefits. That's great. When the evening comes, for 2 hours before bedtime, you want to start slowly dimming your lights. You want to hang out in the warm spectral colors. That's between 2700 and 3500 Kelvin. So you want to be mindful of lessening light. If you want have red light, you also want to eliminate blue light. So you can do a few things on this front. You can use Flux F.
So I actually have light bulbs that I can turn the intensity down in my house because I paid extra money for it.
I think there's a setting on iPhones or smartphones now that you can change it so it's not blue lit at night, so this way it doesn't disrupt some of like the sleep signals as you get closer to bed. But I agree with you. The light regulation is huge. If you have a lot of light going into the system beforehand, you might not be able to sleep well at night. And on the flip side, they actually make alarm clocks now that when the alarm goes off, Holly was just talking to me about this the other day. The actual alarm clock starts to illuminate like a sunlight almost, and it mimics like the sun rising, and it's supposed to be very, very good and healthy for you. Interesting stuff they've got coming out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
.lux on your screens. It washes out blue light. You can also use blue light blocking glasses. And then this is a big one, is if you can, eliminate screens entirely. So you could say 1 hour before bed, no screens, books or your walk only. So that is the rule in my house, is I really try to stay off screens entirely. Number 5 is your bedroom being too hot or too cold. Now we all know what it's like. You're laying in bed, you're sweating, you're tossing and turning. Your body needs to cool down.
I think the best part about this video is him just tossing and turning in bed. I think it is very comical.
He stole my video idea. I was going to do the same thing with the bottle of Jack honey. But I agree with him. I honestly, I'm going to take a wild guess that he's going to say the optimal sleep temperature is 66 degrees. I have a window unit, and it's honestly, I don't have central air, and honestly, I love it because at the end of the day, during the summer times, I can turn all the other units off, and in the bedroom, I can blast that AC and turn that room to an ice box, and I sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
A baby.
Again, there's a lot of research on how cold temperatures are actually good for sleep. Not cold. Cool temperatures, I should say, are good for sleeping compared to...
I drop it to like 62. I drop it to 62.
Danielle is not good with the cold, so sometimes I get hot and I can't sleep.
Down for you to be in the right place to go to sleep. And if you're too hot, you're not going to be able to fall asleep. And so there are some basic things you can do, like open a window and let air come in. You can also have blinds that block the light during the day so your room doesn't get as hot. You can also do more advanced things like have a temperature-controlled mattress. Now, I'm trying to build systems at home and about, and we can be adaptive wherever we go. Number 6 is regulating noise. Now, we all know how annoying it is when our neighbors are arguing, the dog's barking, cars are honking. It's painful, you want it to stop, and you have no control over it. Now, I have a personal experience with this. My neighbor's dogs were barking when I moved into this house. And I said, hey, my bedtime is at 8:30, and when I go to bed and the dogs bark, I wake up and it's hard for me to go back to sleep. Would you be okay if you did the dog's nighttime routine and got them in their kettles before 8:30? She said, sure, no problem. I have not had a problem since. Now, not all neighbors are as nice. I would encourage you to talk to them, even though sometimes that feels scary, and just nicely ask, would you?
I'm just gonna take a wild guess. I think Brian poisoned those dogs.
I didn't want to say that.
I
Yeah,
think he did.
noise
I'm kidding,
can,
Brian. If you end up watching this, you probably won't. I'm completely kidding.
noise
fun.
obviously can be a factor, but there's plenty of people that live in the city, live in places like with tons of noise that sleep completely fine. It's like when before I moved in the house I lived in, the town I lived, like I could hear stuff at night. I could hear cars driving by. I could hear people, and I slept fine with it. But when I moved to where I live now, the middle of nowhere of New Jersey, I didn't hear anything, and it actually made me more uncomfortable not hearing anything. Like I'd hear like the creaks and the little things in my house, and be like, something's going on here, and I don't like it. Whereas
You grab the axe that you sleep next to.
yeah, of course. I have actually it's a hatchet, but actually no,
I knew it
no,
was something.
I have something else. Maybe we should get into that right now.
Legalities?
Oh no, it's definitely illegal.
We'll speak
Oh,
with that first.
But yeah, the noise one, I don't know if I necessarily agree with completely, but I can see it too. It makes sense to me that it's just another thing that's going to stimulate your brain a lot, and it could definitely affect the sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other ones were actually definite habits, like temperature. Like, yeah, you that's a habit of what temperature you sleep at. Light can be a habit. The stimulants can be a habit. Stress and food, those can be habits too, of course. Light, also screen time. Noise to me, I'm like, I don't know if that's a habit. Like, it's, to me, he missed the mark on that last one, I think.
Well, I think it depends on.
I get what he's trying to say.
Yeah. I think it depends on where you live, but it also that could just be watching TV, watching videos on your phone. Like you're not supposed to do all that stuff right before bed, and that is just more sound.
Yeah, so it could be that too. I'll still agree with him to a point. I just think that the noise one, it's dependent on the person. Well, and like, you know, I'll give him the benefit. He even mentioned that a couple of times in this video where it's dependent on the person. So,
And yeah,
he agrees.
but sir, I think we could probably wrap up the video there. I think we got a pretty good idea of what it is, and to me, the overarching theme is that things that stimulate your brain are not good before bed.
Yeah.
Things that
Now, Aaron, would you say that? Did the Glute Guys approve of Bryan Johnson's methods for better sleep?
Well, sir, my thinking cap has been on, and my thinking cap tells me, yes, we do approve.
Yeah, I think overall it's good. I would say so.
You can tell he has a good knowledge base. He's not just pulling this thing out of his butthole, even though he might be. There's science behind it. Although his research, I put air quotes because it's really just him testing himself, is flawed just because there's not enough subjects. It is research. It's something. It's something you
case study. He's the case.
Yeah, it's something you can learn from. So I think you can watch this, use it, apply it to yourself a little bit, especially if you start to look into the research of some of the things he's saying. There is basis behind it. It's not like it's just out of the blue.
100%.
Well, alrighty, everybody. Make sure you wear your thinking cap later on today, and have a nice day.
Grab the Jack Honey.